Welcome to B&B Spoiler Zone. Fire your #1 place for all the juicy spoilers, shocking twists, and behind-the-scenes buzz from the bold and the beautiful. If you don't want to miss what's coming next in episode, you're in the right place. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, suggest some curveballs. First out, Will Spencer, Crew Moro, manages to escape. Still, Luna Nozawa's, Lisa Yamada, preoccupation will just consolidate. In fact, Sheila Carter-Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, is more petrified than ever. Will Spencer escapes after a chilling encounter. The rearmost bold and the beautiful spoilers tease that Will Spencer finds himself in a situation he no way anticipated, and it could change the course of his story forever. The escape. The night Will Spencer slipped down should have ended the story. He walked out, leaving Luna Nozawa gaping into the murk, her precisely constructed world cracking piece by piece. To utmost people, that would have been the end. A dramatic fallout, a heartache, a crack that time might ultimately sew together. But Luna is end utmost people. Her preoccupation did end when Will walked out the door. It began. Substantiations at the event swore they saw her eyes follow him until the veritably last second, burning with a fire that was end heartbreak. It was obsession. When the doors shut behind him, Luna's lips coiled, not into sadness, but into commodity far more nipping determination. She was going to let him go. A fantasy that refused to die. Preoccupation has a way of wringing reality, and Luna's fantasies about Will only boosted after his escape. Rather of accepting the separation, she rewrote the story in her mind. In Luna's interpretation, Will had rejected her. He was testing her. He wanted her to fight for him, to chase him, to prove that her love was deeper, nature, stronger than anything differently he could find. This was end heartbreak. It was a challenge. And Luna was determined to win. The first text. The first communication came at 2:14 a.m. It was to concession or a plea. It was a mystery. Do you conjure about me, or am I only hanging myself? Will did reply. He rolled over, dropped his phone on the nightstand, and told himself it was nothing. Just a moment of weakness from someone who couldn't let go. But it was nothing. It was the morning of commodity important darker. The floodgates open. By daylight, there were 6 further dispatches staying. Some were lyrical, some were sportful, some were downright nipping. You left, but I still feel you. Run if you want. You see overrun my studies. Every song on the radio is about us. Do you hear it? Will's silence did stop her, it fueled her. To Luna, no response meant riddle. Riddle meant interest. Interest meant stopgap. And stopgap, when mixed with preoccupation, becomes gasoline on fire. Why does he block her? At this point, any stranger would ask the egregious question, why does Will just block her number? The verity is, Will asked himself the same thing. His thumb floated over the block contact option more times than he could count. And yet, he could bring himself to do it. Perhaps it was curiosity. Perhaps it was guilt. Perhaps it was the secret exhilaration of being wanted so fully, indeed dangerously. Or perhaps, deep down, Will was ready to cut Luna out ever. The what-if game. Luna understood psychology better than anyone gave her credit for. Her textbooks were arbitrary. They were designed to keep Will hooked. She suspended just enough riddle to make him wonder what if. I saw you tonight. You wouldn't believe what I know about your family. Still, you'd no way leave again if I told you the verity. Each communication was a trap, and Will knew it. But traps don't work unless you look at them, and every time Will read another textbook, Luna went a little further. The perfect life cracks. Intimately, Luna maintained her image swish, confident, untouchable. She posted glamorous prints, smiled at parties, and gave interviews where she claimed she was fastening on herself. But behind the scenes, her preoccupation with Will consumed her. Musketeers noticed her phone no way left her hand. Sidekicks rumored that she was writing textbooks at all hours, rehearsing them out loud like poetry, deleting and rewriting until they struck the perfect balance between love and trouble. Her world wasn't about success presently. It was about Will. And Will, no matter how hard he tried to move on, couldn't shake the feeling that her eyes were still on him. A dangerous escalation. One night, Will entered a communication that made him sit straight over in bed. "Check your frontal veranda." His heart contended as he stumbled to the door. Staying outside was a single rose, tied with black strip, no note attached. He didn't need one. He knew who it was from. The textbooks weren't just words presently, they were conduct. Luna had crossed the unnoticeable line between fantasy and reality. And Will's silence was only making her bolder. A ghostly hassle with Luna. Will was moments down from calling the police when he realized Luna wasn't dead after all. Rather, she appeared before him alive and well, however her address was far from ordinary. In a shocking twist, Luna tried to lighten the moment with ghost jokes and indeed tried to flirt with him. The crazy jest left Will rattled, forcing him to back down until he stumbled onto the bed, cornered and fully unnerved. The mask that uncorked a memory. The real shock came when Will caught sight of Electra Forrester's Linnea Grace mask. In that split second, a disturbing memory swamped back. He had slept with Luna. The disclosure frightened him, especially since it linked his conduct to both Luna and Electra, putting him in an insolvable position. Will's dilemma. Still, the verity is bound to reach Electra, if Will tells anyone about what happened. That would shatter his perfect love with her and conceivably destroy everything he has erected with the Forrester family. Caught between exposing Luna's unsettling games and guarding his own future, Will is left with only one choice. The escape. According to the coming spoiler, Will makes a quick exit to distance himself from Luna and the dangerous web of secrets she represents. His hasty retreat might buy him time, but it also sets the stage for bigger consequences. Running wouldn't keep the verity hidden ever, and when it eventually comes out, Will's world could collapse in ways he no way imagined. Luna Nozawa's preoccupation intensifies the textbooks that wouldn't stop. The dispatches. The avalanche. The rose on Will's veranda should have been the final straw. Any rational person would have called the police, changed their number, blocked every possible contact. But Will didn't. And because he didn't, Luna took that as authorization. The coming morning, his phone lit up before dawn. 10 unlettered dispatches. By noon, another 20. By the end of the day, over 50 textbooks sat piled in his inbox like bricks erecting a captivity around him. Some dispatches were sweet, romantic indeed. "I made your favorite pasta tonight. I set a place for you. You'll come back." Others were cryptic. "You know what happens to people who lie, right?" And some were chillingly direct. "Answer me, or I'll make you." The fantasies. It wasn't just the frequency, it was the content. Luna's textbooks weren't just communication. They were liar. She created whole fantasies, entire alternate realities where she and Will were still together. "We're on the sand right now. The sun is setting. You're holding me. Why wouldn't you admit it? I can still smell your cologne on my pillow. You left it for me, didn't you? You want me to flash back." The further Will ignored her, the more elaborate her fantasies came. She wasn't just transferring textbooks, she was writing a novel, one in which Will was trapped as the unintentional co-author. Screenshots and proof. At first, Will tried to move himself. Luna was inoffensive. Compulsive, yes. Violent, surely. But dangerous? Perhaps not. That changed when she started attaching screenshots. Flashback this, she wrote, transferring him a print of an old textbook thread between them, private jokes, late-night admissions, digital vestiges of closeness. Look how happy you were. Look how you loved me. Do and lie. Another time, she transferred him a print of him walking into a cafe, taken from across the road. You do and indeed know when I'm there. That's how close I always am. The communication was clear. She was ain't just texting. She. The F. It didn't take long for Will's musketeers to notice commodity was wrong. He was distracted, paranoid, constantly checking his phone. At parties, he'd step outdoors to G.W.H. Will. They allowed. He was exaggerating until Luna started texting the S. The. Silent. W.H. But. You're ignoring me because you're hysterical of how much you feel. E. The less he said, the further she projected. The further she projected, the deeper her fantasies. G. The breaking P. One evening, Will's phone buzzed with a communication that stopped him. C. I know where you'll be tomorrow. His hands shook as he read it. He tried to move himself. It was another empty trouble, another mind game. But deep down, he knew Luna had crossed a line. It was ain't just preoccupation presently. It was possession. Why he still doesn't block her. At this point, the question burned brighter than ever. Why doesn't he block her? Some say it's fear, that blocking her would provoke her into commodity worse. Others brood it's pride, that some part of Will intimately savors being the center of her world. But the most nipping proposition? That Will doesn't block her because he wants to keep her close. He knows Luna well enough to understand that cutting her off might make her evaporate from his phone, but not from his life. As long as the textbooks keep coming, at least he knows where she is. The world watches. By now, their crooked saga had revealed into the public eye. Gossip blogs ran captions like Luna's love gone too far, and Will's silence smart or stupid. Screenshots of her dispatches trended on social media, deconstructed by suckers like substantiation in a trial. Some sympathized with Will. Others with Luna. Numerous just wanted more drama. But while the world treated it like entertainment, the verity was darker. One woman's preoccupation was twisting, and one man's silence was feeding it. The cliffhanger. The night ended with one final communication. Short. Simple. Intimidating. Hereafter, everything changes. Will goggled at the words until the screen went dark. His musketeers prayed him to call the police, to block her, to do commodity. But Will only soughed, put the phone face down, and rumored to himself. Sheila and stop. She'll no way stop. And the world held its breath, staying to see what hereafter would bring. Hereafter arrives. When Luna compartmented the words hereafter, everything changes. Nothing knew what she meant. Was it another empty trouble? Another cryptic fantasy? Or was it commodity real, commodity far more dangerous than anyone wanted to believe? Will tried to brush it off. He told himself it was just Luna being Luna, dramatic, compulsive, hopeless for attention. But when he woke the coming morning, his phone formerly buzzing with announcements, he realized hereafter wasn't just a pledge. It was a preamble. The morning shower. By 6 a.m., Will had 50 new textbooks. By 8 a.m., he'd over 100. They weren't arbitrary. They were a story. Communication after communication painted the picture of a day they hadn't participated but Luna claimed they had. Breakfast at her favorite cafe. A walk through the domain. Sitting side by side on a bench, laughing at children chasing suckers. You looked so happy this morning. You held my hand tighter than ever. Why wouldn't you admit it happened? It was vision turned into attestation. A fabricated love unfolding in real time. The prince. Also came the prince. At first, they were innocent, selfies of Luna smiling, eyes wild with a manic radiance, captions that read allowing of you and our day is perfect. But also the tone shifted. A print of Will's auto situated outside his apartment. A vague shot of him walking into a grocery store. A close-up of his window, taken from the road, or perhaps indeed the structure across from his. The caption under that last one set his blood. You looked out at me. You smiled. You know you did. The unblockable preoccupation. Will's musketeers prayed him again block her. End this. But the problem wasn't technology, it was Luna herself. Indeed, if he blocked her, she'd find another number. Another phone. Another way in. And perhaps, deep down, Will wasn't ready to ramify the thread fully. Perhaps part of him allowed. Keeping her in his dispatches meant keeping her out there, contained, traceable, predictable. Because if he blocked her, he'd lose the one thing he still had a window into her mind. The breaking point. That night, Will was sitting on his settee, the television fluttering in the background, when his phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a textbook. It was a videotape. Hands pulsing, he pressed play. The camera shook as Luna walked through a dimly lit space. At first, it looked like an empty apartment, but also Will's stomach dropped. It wasn't empty. It was his. She stood in his living room, spinning sluggishly, her voice a soft tale. It feels so good to be home. The videotape ended. Will's heart pounded. He ran to the door, checked every cinch, every window. Nothing was broken. Nothing was out of place. But the fact that she had been there, perhaps lately, perhaps hours agone, was inarguable. Luna wasn't just featuring presently. She was acting. The silence shatters. For the first time since her preoccupation began, Will cracked. He transferred a communication. Just 3 words. Leave me alone. Twinkles passed. No response. An hour. Still nothing. For a transitory moment, Will let himself believe it was over, that the simple act of eventually admitting her had given her what she wanted. Also, at 3 a.m., his phone buzzed again. Eventually. You spoke. I knew you couldn't repel me. The dispatches proceeded, briskly and more frenzied than ever. His silence had been energy. His words were fire. Public and private collapse. By now, the story had revealed far and wide. Blogs posted timelines of her textbooks. Social media accounts tracked her sightings. Hashtags trended #Luna's obsession and #Will in danger. But while the public treated it like entertainment, Will's private life atrophied. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't concentrate. Every vibration of his phone made his palpitation shaft. He lived in a state of constant dread, staying for the coming communication, the coming print, the coming videotape. And all the while, Luna sounded to be enjoying every second of it. The battle. It couldn't last ever. The night it all came to a head, Will returned home to find his door uncorked. His casket tensed as he pushed it open. And there she was. Luna, sitting on his settee, her phone in her hand, a smile on her face as if she'd been staying for him her whole life. "Why are you running from me?" she asked vocally, as if she were the victim. "Don't you see? You're mine. You've always been mine." Will's voice shook. "You need help." But Luna only laughed, tipping her head. "No. You need me." The cliffhanger ending. What happened coming remains shrouded in enterprise. Some say Will called the police. Others claim he didn't, hysterical that involving them would only make her preoccupation worse. Many indeed brute that, in that moment, gaping into Luna's wild, unblinking eyes, Will eventually understood what drew him back every time: the terrible, infectious captivation of being asked so fully. What's inarguable is this: the textbooks didn't stop, however, they grew darker, foreigner, if anything. And Will, despite everything, still hasn't blocked her. Final studies. Preoccupation isn't love. It isn't love. It's hunger. And Luna Nozawa's hunger for Will Spencer has reached a point where fantasy and reality are no longer separate. The question isn't if this ends poorly. The question is how. Because when preoccupation becomes identity, and silence becomes an answer, there's only one verity left. Luna will no way let go.